In 1959, Roger Corman made a movie where a busboy kills people, covers their bodies in clay, and becomes the most celebrated artist in Los Angeles. 5 days of shooting, $50,000, 0 copyright notice. This is A Bucket of Blood. It is 1959 in Venice, California. The beatnik scene is in full swing. Dark coffee houses, bongos, beret, poets who snap their fingers instead of clap. And at the center of it all sits a shy, lonely busboy named Walter Paisley. Walter clears tables. He washes dishes. But what he actually wants is to be an artist like the poets and painters who fill the room every night. The problem is simple. He has no talent whatsoever. One night, Walter accidentally kills his landlady's cat. Panicked, he covers the body in wet clay and leaves it in the kiln overnight. When he pulls it out the next morning, it looks like a real sculpture. He calls it Dead Cat. He brings it to the cafe. Everyone loses their minds. What incredible realism. What brutal honesty. Walter Paisley is declared a visionary. A gallery wants an entire show. The art world demands more. And Walter has no idea how to deliver. An undercover narcotics cop follows Walter home. When the cop threatens to expose him as a fraud, Walter kills him and covers him in clay too. He calls this one Murdered Man. The critics call it a masterpiece. Now Walter is trapped. Every new sculpture has to be more shocking than the last. He needs bodies. A local model who rejected him. A rival artist. Each corpse becomes a celebrated work of art while Walter spirals deeper into murder. Roger Corman directed this brutally dark satire in 5 days. That was not unusual for him. He once shot Little Shop of Horrors in 2 days. His formula was brutal. No overtime, no reshoots, no second takes unless the first one literally failed. The script came from Charles B. Griffith, a writer in his 20s who could knock out screenplays in 3 days. He wrote it as a savage joke on the pretentious art scene. The beatniks in the film speak entirely in faux profound gibberish, and nobody notices. Critics at the time barely noticed the film. It was a B-movie, bottom half of a double bill, but A Bucket of Blood was doing something smarter than anyone realized, mocking the very culture it depicted, the art world that cannot tell genius from garbage or a corpse from a sculpture. American International Pictures released the film but failed to include a valid copyright notice on the original prints. Under the 1909 Copyright Act, that meant the film fell into the public domain the moment it hit theaters. No renewal necessary. It simply never belonged to anyone. That legal accident is why A Bucket of Blood is everywhere today. The Internet Archive, budget DVD collections, late-night television, free streaming platforms. The film Corman made for pocket change and forgot to protect became immortal by accident. Dick Miller, who played Walter Paisley, would carry the character with him for the rest of his career. In Joe Dante's The Howling, he plays a man explicitly named Walter Paisley who runs an occult bookstore. It was not a coincidence. The busboy who sculpted with corpses was the role that refused to stay buried. A Bucket of Blood is 67 years old. It was made by people who had no idea anyone would still be watching. Yet here it sits on the Internet Archive, completely free, completely legal, waiting for the next curious viewer to stumble onto its grim little joke about art murder and the thin line between them. If a 5-day horror film about a killer who sculpts with corpses taught you something about art, copyright law, and the beatnik 50s, you are exactly the kind of viewer this channel exists for. Hit subscribe. Find another film. Stay curious. We will see you in the next reel.